The road to Hell's Gate Bridge was almost invisible beneath the Alabama fog. Heather sat stiff in the passenger seat of BJ's old pickup, staring out at the dark pines lining the narrow road outside Hell's Gate Bridge. Rainwater dripped from the trees like slow tears tapping against the windows.
This place gives me bad vibes.
Heather muttered. BJ laughed nervously.
That's the point. Everybody says it's haunted. Everybody also says people disappear out here. That's just stories.
But neither of them really believed that. Earlier that night, at a bonfire outside Oxford, some college kids had dared them to visit the bridge after midnight. According to local legend, a teenage couple drowned in Chocolaco Creek back in the 1950s after their car plunged from the bridge on prom night. Since then, people claimed the dead couple appeared in the back seat of parked cars. Heather had wanted to ignore the dare, but BJ had grinned and said,
"Come on. What's the worst that could happen?"
Now, as the truck crawled through the woods, Heather wished she'd stayed home. The bridge appeared suddenly through the fog. It was old, rusted, and narrow, with peeling white rails and black water moving silently beneath it. The creek looked thick and oily under the moonlight. BJ parked near the center. The engine idled. For a moment, neither of them spoke. Then BJ killed the headlights. Darkness swallowed everything. Only the sound of rushing water remained. Heather folded her arms tightly.
Can we leave now?
Wait a minute.
BJ switched off the engine. The truck went dead silent. Heather instantly regretted it. No wind, no insects, no frogs, nothing. It was as if the woods themselves were holding their breath. Tap, tap, tap.
What was that?
BJ forced a grin.
Probably a branch.
Tap. This time it came from the truck bed. Heather turned slowly toward the rear window. Nothing but darkness. Then the smell hit them. Rotting river water. And something sweet underneath it, like old perfume. Heather's breathing quickened.
BJ?
Yeah?
Start the truck.
BJ reached for the key. The engine clicked once. Dead. Nothing. The temperature inside the cab dropped sharply. Heather could suddenly see her own breath. Then came another sound, a faint dripping, like wet clothes soaking the seats behind them. Heather looked into the side mirror. At first she saw only shadows. Then two pale faces slowly emerged in the back seat. A teenage boy wearing a soaked tuxedo, and beside him, a girl in a ruined prom dress, her skin gray and bloated from water. Their empty white eyes stared directly at Heather. Heather screamed. BJ whipped around. The back seat was empty.
What did you see?
They're here.
The dripping sound grew louder. Drip, drip, drip. BJ looked forward again and nearly crashed through the windshield. The dead girl now stood outside the truck, inches from the hood. Her dress hung in strips of wet fabric. River weeds twisted through her hair. One side of her neck bent at an unnatural angle. And she was smiling. Behind her stood the boy. His face was crushed inward like broken porcelain. BJ jammed the key again. The truck sputtered, then died. The girl slowly raised one pale hand. A soaking wet handprint appeared on Heather's window. Then another, and another. Dozens of wet handprints spread across the glass from invisible fingers. Heather started crying.
Please make it stop.
Then the voice came, right beside her ear. Can we get a ride home? Heather turned. The drowned girl sat beside her now. Water poured from her mouth onto the floorboard. BJ shouted and slammed his shoulder into Heather's door, trying to get out.
The handle won't move.
The truck suddenly rocked violently. Something slammed underneath them from below the bridge. Boom. The metal groaned. Another slam. Boom. The bridge rails creaked. Heather looked through the windshield and saw dark figures rising from the creek below, human shapes dragging themselves from the water. More drowned faces. More empty eyes, all staring at the truck. BJ screamed and punched the ignition one final time. The engine roared alive. Instantly, every figure vanished. Heather looked beside her. The drowned girl was gone. BJ slammed the gas pedal to the floor. The truck fishtailed across the bridge and tore down the road while Heather sobbed uncontrollably. Neither of them looked back, not until they reached the highway. That's when Heather noticed something on the fogged rear window. Written from the inside, "Prom night forever." BJ pulled over and vomited onto the pavement. Neither of them ever spoke about what happened on Hell's Gate Bridge again, and they both swore one thing for the rest of their lives. They would never go near that bridge again.